Welcome to the Startup Cabin podcast. I'm Steve Ferris, and this is where we're going to share some great strategies from European startups and investors. Today's guest is Anette Nordvall, and she's special in the fact that she had done many startups, and she's also an investor. She has a history as a serial entrepreneur working in America and Sweden. She has some pretty unique perspectives as to why Sweden is a really great place for you to start your business. A few other things they're going to touch on is her product AQUIS, and Donald Trump's hacks to get loads of credit, and more about opportunities and sole agencies. If you've never heard about that, this is really good for you to listen to. And there's so much energy in this interview, so buckle up and enjoy.
Welcome Anette to Startup Cabin podcast.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about what you do right now.
My everyday or my most day?
Well, you have several businesses, right?
Yes, I do.
So which ones are they?
Well, I am a partner and a proud partner actually with Stockholm Business Angels, which is a angel investing network. We're 40 investors, but we actually do invest all together in a business segment, so to speak. And then I have a new company that I'm working with as a general agent for actually a towel company called AQUIS. And I do that. That's mainly what I do during the days. And then I have a design company. And then also I have ownership in several other companies as well that I work with, but not, 40 hours a day. But my week is pretty busy.
So I knew you from the beginning as the business angel, well, the most social one, I would say, from Stockholm Business Angels.
Thank you.
And when did you start getting into investments?
Well, I started to day trade in the 90s. I lived in the United States between 1993 to 2010, and we lived in North Carolina. And we did day trading when E-Trade came above. We actually started to trade with Merrill Lynch in a group called Dollar Invest. We were 10 Swedish ladies that was living abroad in North Carolina. And we did trade together because we had read a book called Beardstown Ladies, which were a bunch of old ladies that just invested together. And they had a philosophy on if you're satisfied with just earning a quarter on a dollar, then you should actually sell it. And then if you're still in love with the same stock in itself, and this was just trading on NASDAQ and so forth, you could buy it again, but you had to understand that you have to get the gain out of everything to be able to accumulate wealth. So that was our trade motto. So we did that from 97 to in the end of 99. We actually sold all our portfolio just in the beginning of 2000, which was just before the crash. So we had
Perfect.
It was really good. We didn't invest that much money, but I think I had about 1,000% in gain, which was fantastic because the trading scenario was insane. It was Y2K came, and so between 98 and the end of 99, I was doing a lot of recruiting, and I was doing design recruiters for any software that thought that they didn't have the millennium shift in their software.
Oh, yeah.
So the redesign for Y2K was extreme. So everybody was super scared. So everything that was technology driven was what we invested in because that was the criteria we were sort of striving after. So that's when I started for real. I did purchase some stocks in Sweden when I was about 20. I bought H&M, and I had a big John Mattsson. My dad was a builder with them, and we lived in Portugal when I was a kid. So I really liked that company in itself, and I kept them all until about a year ago. And the multiples on them are fantastic. So that was, and I just kept them because I didn't see any reason to sell them because I didn't have that many. But they accumulated and they divided and they redivided. So it was a nice portfolio to have. And then I did some personal investments together with my husband in some telecom companies in the United States. And then also
Like a business angel?
Or more like a fool, I think. But on a higher note, it was more money
Friends
to
fools.
be, but more on being a fool, putting too much money into one sort of pocket. So I learned a lot from it, and I really think that the experience that I had and everything, I'm super thankful for all the stupid stuff that I did. And it's also called learning money, which is awful when you sit there and you go like, oh crap. this
I've
was
had that
not,
too.
yeah, but then in the end, afterwards, you feel really good about it because you go like, well, you can always go back and you can see, I'm not going to do that. So what can I do to do this? Because I really liked it, but I want to do it better. So when we moved back to Sweden in 2010, and we were only supposed to be here to try and live here for about 6 months because our kids grew up in the United States.
Okay.
And I didn't want to pull them from their roots there, and I didn't want to push Sweden on them. But born in Sweden and been living here for a long time, we were supposed to stay for 6 months in the United States, and we stayed 17 years. So it's quite a span of time. But it was good times and bad times, and it was really a hard country to live in. The United States was in war, and we don't see it in Sweden as there was no war. Well, there was a war status after 9/11, which is 2001. And it was difficult also to be a foreigner and also from a country as Sweden is very liberal, and we're more socialistic in our thoughts than we actually are, to the right side of the fringe as a Republican. And so that became complicated. So I was really happy to move here. And then I decided that, or I had the opportunity, because I done some real estate deals in the United States, that I had some money over, and I felt, well, I really like investing, and I really like to grow stuff. I'm a stupid serial entrepreneur. I cannot give up on stuff. I believe in things, and I understand things, and I really burn for stuff, and I want to sort of see if I can add additional value just both in knowledge and also in money. And I found Stockholm Business Angels through a network called Tillväxtverket had a sort of a state-governed kind of program for women entrepreneurs. And I became one of the ambassadors when we came here because
you mean that one? I was an ambassador too.
All right, yeah.
Between 2011 and 2012.
Right.
Yeah,
so
I was like the youngest one.
Oh, I'm pretty sure, yeah. And I was there for about 2 years, and because I didn't have a network, I didn't have any friends, I didn't have any business partners that I could go back to and go like, oh hey, let's do some business, or who do you know? Because
17 years is a long time.
it is a long time, and it also is a long time because we didn't have any. When we came back to Sweden, we came to Sweden to visit and eat falukorv and do stuff in the archipelago for a couple of days, and then we left for Italy, or we left for vacation to Greece or something like that. So we never spent any time here, and we didn't have any house here or anything. So it more became like we had 2 weeks of vacation, and we had to sort of straddle Scandinavia and Europe in together because we wanted to give our
the
kids
experience of it.
Yeah, and then the family and blah blah, all that stuff too. So it depends. So we never had time for, even though I did do business here in Sweden, I was travel back and forth. We were connected with the company and not with any other social stuff that I could have done, but that was not in my focus when I was here or when we lived in the United States either. I never thought actually that we would be capable of moving back to Sweden because it's kind of different to come back. But it's been fantastic. I've never had so much fun and feel so welcomed and as a foreigner, because I'm not a foreigner because I speak Swedish, but I have a foreign experience for it. So you're sort of an immigrant, but you have with a good status or an easier status, being white, being a woman, and coming back with their mother language.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand that when you move abroad and come back, it doesn't feel the same.
No.
It was a really good setting to say that, you actually kind of feel like an immigrant coming back. Well, I'm Swedish, but, I've had other experiences.
Yeah. So, but it's really nice. So then I met the Stockholm Business Angel, and I was introduced to Lennart and Klaus. Lennart Olsson is one of the founders together with Klaus Gottwald and Ted Elvhage. And I really felt that, wow, this is so cool. But oh my God, what a bunch of old guys. And I felt that I could really make a difference. There was 2 female partners at that time, and now we're 9. And I really feel that we have been able to recruit, because females recruit females and men recruit men. It's not anything to say about that, but that's just how we are. And I felt that we have now, from the knowledge base has always been very high, and that's been one of the main focuses for Stockholm Business Angel when it comes to startup. That we don't have piles of money, but we have piles of knowledge and experience because of the old guys and the old girls or whatever. The whole group is very divided now because or not divided, we're very diverse because I think the youngest one is like 32 and then the oldest one is 78. And that it's tossed together in a mixed salad, and I think the average is about 50. So it becomes really, really interesting, and we have different backgrounds and we have different experience from abroad, not only United States. We actually have India, we have Asia and China. It's a lot of good people in the group, so it's really fun to work with. And so we meet every Monday during the afternoon, and we do different kind of if it's the investment committee or if it's going through filtration with and discussions and so forth, and also learning, because we have learning is a very, very big part of the whole program together that you sort of purchase into, is that we have to go through all these different themes. So we are actually understanding, we do the evaluation and the filtration in it with a mutual concept.
Yeah, Leonard, as we interviewed him for the last episode, the previous episode, he talked a lot about that.
Yeah.
That the combination is very unique.
Yeah.
To have such a heavy weight on the knowledge part that a lot of investors actually miss. Giving their startups. So I think it's very
and I also think that one big component also into it is that we learn the entrepreneurs also to view on their evaluation. We give them a view on what we think about the evaluation, but a reasoning behind it. Because the reasoning always ends up in how are you going to end up with the best sort of package in the end for an exit plan, which of course when you listen to startup pods and stuff like that, you're not supposed to talk about exits, but everybody wants to hear about it and understand the reasoning and why should I do that, why for being diluted in your ownership and so forth. And we have a really nice way of packaging it together, negotiating together, because several of our investments are done together with Almi Invest, which is a Swedish investment fund by a governed fund. So they can't negotiate, because if they negotiate, it would be pretty bad news for all the media channels to say that they can do. But we can negotiate, and we understand how to do it too. So I think we add fantastic value also for us, but it should be a win-win situation in the end, because if the owners are not happy, then our investment
it's like
is
a lost
toast.
investment. Exactly.
Yeah. So that's
So what do you think is the difference for you now compared to a couple of years ago? Like how you see yourself as a business angel and your investments? What's changed?
The climate in Sweden has changed a lot the past 3 years. I've been a member the past a little bit more than 3 years. And when I came into it, I think that business angels weren't so focused on making business, or actually looking into how you can make money on the investment, because I think this is almost ever seen as the most expensive hobby, that you actually are putting a lot of money in and hoping almost that something will happen. But we're trying to take it out from the mix that it's hope, that we create the hope scenario. We actually are looking it on this market segment, on the projects that we're involved in and so forth. And we state in the beginning that if we don't see that we can make 10 times the money on this kind of investment, this investment is not for us. And to add that into the mix, to say that we're here, we want to make money, that's the reason why we're in this game, but we wanted to also do it based on our knowledge and to open doors, because our network is fantastic. We're 40 people that at least know 40 powerful people that we can sort of add value to the venture in itself. So, and I also think that we're more mature in how we perceive ourselves as good companies, because now all of a sudden we have role models. We always go back to Klarna, we go back to Spotify, now we can go to Mojang, gaming companies that are doing King and Supercell in Finland and so forth, and we can sort of go like, damn, we're pretty smart here, and we do pretty smart things, and that you can see that you can sort of collaborate with others, and that all kinds of collaborations will end up in a double positive, rather than you see everyone as a counterpart or someone that is your competitor and so forth. You can actually take ideas and so forth and work together with people that are interested. And I think that's different from how Swedes are perceived as, whereas I perceive or stereotype Swedes that we don't want to talk to each other. We want to be, our normalness is being secluded and so forth. But that's not really the fact. It is. We are really seen upon from the rest of the world as really smart people.
Smart, innovative, forward.
Yeah. And I mean, if you look into sports and you look into hockey, for example, Sweden are dominating in NHL, which been fascinated to be a Swede and then see all these Swedish players come over and play in the United States and go into the leagues and so forth. So you feel super proud of being a Swede wherever. And it's a very nice country to be a part of. And Sweden is a fantastic country in itself because we have paid education all the way up to university. And we have, even though Swedes don't feel that it's paid because you have to pay for living and you have to pay for books and so forth, but it's so minimal if
compared to everywhere else.
Exactly. And then the infrastructure in the community is fantastic with all kinds of different angles. It's safe, but someone said to me, it's so boring in Sweden. Why do you come back here? And I was like, oh, it's not boring. It's safe and it's fantastic, because if it's safe, you feel very, very almost obliged to do something with the competence and the knowledge that you have to build things and to create things and do it together with friends. And there's always a safety net. Because if you get sick or if you want to continue your education and so forth, the opportunity is there, and you don't have to apply for scholarships. You don't have to mortgage whatever if you can mortgage anything if you're sick and you want to go to the hospital and be taken care of because of some disease and so forth. In other countries, this is unheard of.
And it's good for entrepreneurship. I mean, fantastic. It's like when I've been talking to some of the kind of younger, like more student entrepreneurs that are starting out, and they see me, and I've been doing business for 10 years, but they see me as a young person, like they can see themselves in me, but then they realize I've been doing business for 10 years. But then I tell them, like, start your business now, because if you're on CSN, that's like the best loan you can take. It's a student loan in Sweden. That's the best loan you can take and start your business, because it's so safe. And you can pay it back for such a long time. There's like not that much you have to do back, and starting a business, that's the best way to go. Don't bring in other people if you don't know what you're doing, and wait with getting professional investors until you know what you're doing. Then you're going to get a fair deal. You're going to give the investor something much better. That's like a good way to test your product.
It is, actually. And then also talking about that too, and I mentioned that we've been investing together with Almi on the invest side. We also have a program in Sweden called Almi Företagspartner, which is Almi Business Partner. And they're fantastic. And I don't know if you can call it like I didn't fool anyone, but I didn't say who I was when I contacted Almi, because the last venture I have is the towel company. And I contacted them at Företagspartner just because I wanted to have their business loan, because I wanted to see if I could finance, because I say this to anyone that comes to me. I say, why don't you go to Almi and talk to them about a small business loan? It's like a microloan. You get 250,000 Swedish krona. If you have a valid business idea, if you have a valid plan of budgeting and how you're going to earn this money back so you can actually pay the loan. Because the banks in Sweden doesn't work. So I went to them and I asked them and said, this is what I really would like to do. My name is Anette Nordvall and this is what I want to do. And they obviously didn't do any research on me, because otherwise I don't know if I would be able to get a loan from them. I don't know. Anyway, so I went there and I wrote my executive summary, and I followed all the guidelines and rules. Super simple, super easy. They were fantastic and brilliant to talk to. They were patient and polite, and they followed up, and they did all kinds of things. So I received my loan for 250,000 Swedish krona, so I could actually finance my first purchase of my first inventory, which was brilliant. So then I went to the next level, and I actually applied again, and I said, well, now they knew who I was. So, and I said, I really would like to do, because I want to scale it up. I want actually to do a bigger order, and I also want to purchase some media, and I need to have more money. So they issued again another. I would see it as a grant, because it's more of that than anything else, even though I have to pay on it a little bit. and I received 450,000 more, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's like brilliant. And you cannot, I don't think that you can do this anywhere else in the world.
Not
Maybe
with those
you
kind
can.
Of, yeah, but not with those kind of loans.
No,
That's the
and
thing.
then with the help and with the understanding. And if you call here is called INS, alltså the Bolagsverket in Sweden. When you call them, you get your personal person.
Yeah.
And you get your phone number back, direct number to this person, and you can ask additional questions if you need help. Same thing if you go to IRS, if you call Skatteverket here in Sweden. They're brilliant. And you get the personal number, and you can call them back and ask them if, whatever you need to. If you call IRS in United States, you're on a shit list. All of a sudden, you're going to get audits, and you're going to get all kinds of crazy stuff because you're on the radar.
Yeah.
Because you have questions about stuff, and it takes forever for anyone to get responses and so forth. So starting out business here in Sweden is a fantastic, phenomenal climate. Easy to do it. You can actually start with a sole proprietary thing, and you can do it as a handelsbolag, which is like a limited partner kind of thing, which doesn't you don't even have to put any money into it, but you still have, you can do it with another partner, and you can do it. So, and when you start making money, you can do the whole
kind of move
corporation
up the ladder.
kind of thing. In the United States, it's called SCorp, so you can do that, and then you put some stocks, and you start doing all that stuff. It's
in my company, Cedar Woods, we do that a lot for clients. They start
Right.
with the sole proprietor, and then they start making money, and then they want to move up, so they get help from us to actually move from to an actual Swedish AB.
Right.
And it's a pretty smart way to go. It's actually funny that when you talk about those loans, because there is a book that I read so many years ago, and it's actually from Donald Trump's lawyer.
Oh, really?
And that book is just brilliant. And what he actually talks about is that all the strategies he made for Donald when he was starting up. So all the crazy tricks he did to get on top of the real estate market in New York, being nobody from the beginning.
Right.
And one of the things that they learned during these years, and he's still his lawyer, like they've known each other for forever, and is that he explains in this book how you work with banks. And that's exactly what you do. He says, like, don't wait and try for a big loan after you've made part of your business. Start borrowing a little bit of money just to borrow the money and to give it back very, very quickly. And then you have a bigger one and bigger one and bigger one. Because what he talks about is, like, as you said, banks, they're not going to help you as a business.
No.
But you can take loans like that and actually make them help you.
Yeah.
Because they're going to go back in their track record and see, oh, they have borrowed money from us and they paid it back perfectly every time.
Yeah.
And then in the end, when you actually need the money, you're going to get them so fast.
Right.
So that's what they did from the beginning and still do to get those super big deals.
Well, it's also the way the credit system works in the United States, how you build your own credit. It's all about how much debt can you actually handle.
Yeah.
And we don't do it in Sweden.
Yeah.
We actually only borrow money because we need to purchase something, not to create a statement over how you are as a character in being able to pay stuff back and so forth. So it's really important to do everything and follow the rules, because if you all of a sudden sort of stray out from the rules, then you're on their radar for being a bad person to work together with. So you need to be as a bad customer.
And that's what he said. Like, I'm just proving a couple of years that I'm a good customer. That's the only thing I do, with putting the money in and taking them out. Putting them and taking them out. Just to have that track record, because he can't get it anywhere else.
No.
And I mean, that's why they don't borrow, money to companies. It's too big of a risk for them. And
because they're not in the
field.
money lending segment.
Which is strange.
Well, they don't take risks. So that's it.
They're not in the risk business. That's the way to put it. So, AQUIS. I mean, I wanted to talk about AQUIS because I know you have the sole agency for this.
Yes.
And we've talked about this a couple of times before as well, that it's a very interesting way to do business.
Yeah.
And I was really happy when you told me that, because I'm like, oh, nice, cool.
Yeah.
Because I know how effective that can be when starting a business. So tell our listeners about how you did that and what it is.
Well, it's more of, I think, if you believe in something and you think that you can do something with the brand, it's all about moving it forward in the segment where you're accustomed to, or where you feel that you're you can make a change.
Your market.
Yeah,
and you know.
yeah, and you know, and the people that you work with and so forth. Because I did the agency that I have is, or the whole ownership of it is that I have Europe. But then I said, well, I'm probably not going to go into certain countries. So I want to have Scandinavia. I want to have sole rights for Scandinavia because I know I'm going to be able to work this market. I live here. I almost understand the countries around here and that are connected to Scandinavia. And I felt that I could do a better impact with the 25 million people that are in this area than I could do if I went to Germany or I went to any other country.
So this is, you actually have the sole agency for these patented towels and all the products they're doing in that company.
Yes, everything.
For Europe.
Yeah, for Europe. Everything that they do within the company, and they're based in San Francisco, and they've been there since 1990. And Britta, who's the owner of the company, she was a Swedish ancestor, so she's third generation Swede, but she lives in and she's born and raised in Novato in outside San Francisco. So she was very excited when I approached them because I've used the towel since '97. So I already use it. I have way too long hair, and it's very annoying for a lot of people that I have so long hair, but it's because I can do it with this towel.
To add for the listeners, Anette has really, really, really long hair. It's kind of her signature. Like everybody knows the woman, the investor with the really long hair. She has a really beautiful blonde braid that she always has. So it's your trademark.
Well, just become it, but I didn't sort of plan it. But now I can't cut it off because I don't think that people know who I am. No, I'm kidding.
No one will recognize
no,
you.
right. I could do incognito. I could do that.
So you used the towel since...
I used the towel since '97, and I never thought so much about it. And also, when I wanted to do something that changed how you do stuff, a pattern of how you, not only how you call on the phone, because we have a phone company, it's more of like, how can I make it easier for people? And I've been using this damn towel since '97. And I'm thinking, oh, well, people would probably use this. And I tried to get hold of it, but I couldn't. And that was the point. I couldn't get hold of it in the summer last year to my son's girlfriend, because all of a sudden her hair was way too long, and I'm like, oh my god, you should have my towel like I have. It's fantastic. It should be so easy for you. And I couldn't get hold of it. The shipping cost from the United States was way more because I had to ship it to France to then ship it over here. So I was like, okay, this is stupid. And she goes like, Emma is her name. She goes like, well, you should probably sell it here. You can sell snow to Eskimos. So this would be like easy for you to do. And I'm like, well, no, I'm not doing this. I've never worked with products. I've never done this, this kind of thing. I understand it, but no, I should probably do more of the on the investment side and being more of like a mentor and helper than I actually to pursue something myself. And then something flew into me. I don't know. And I was like, well, I should at least see if it's an opportunity, if I can pursue it. So I emailed them, and about 45 minutes later, I had an email back, and they go like, oh my God, I can't believe that you're emailing, blah, blah, blah. And this is how easy it actually is. You ask a question, and then you also are this is what I would like to do. And in a very short, not a very long, sobby story of something, I would just say, I'm a businesswoman. I lived in the United States for a long time. I'm back in Sweden. I've used a towel since this and that. And this is what I would like to do. And they said, that sounds fantastic. So we had a phone conversation, we Skyped and we spoke, and they were very nice, and we had a very nice conversation. I feel that Britta was very happy that I lived in the United States. I think that was a plus, but also my
familiarity.
The familiarity, and then also the understanding of that when she said stuff, I understood what she meant, and I lived there, but I don't think that is that's a must. Or that you have to do that, but it felt that was an easy thing to do because we had so much in common that we didn't even know that we had. And the main thing we had in common was this towel. And it's super absorbent. It's just fantastic. It's really, really nice.
Yeah, I use it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. And there's no reason not to use it after you have. But the segment in itself, I feel like, oh my God, a towel? Are you kidding me? What can you do?
It's very different from tech.
Right. I never been in beauty. I've never been in this kind of thing. And I'm sort of a hair and
an alphabet?
Yeah. In when you because I never thought of it, because my hair just grows and I don't have an issue with it. It just comes the way it is. So now all of a sudden I'm very aware of products, and I'm super aware of the community and so forth. But I want people to understand that this is just so easy and it saves time, and that's it. It's
and
not
the thing is, it's funny because I colored my hair blonde. I was born blonde, but now I'm blonde again.
Yeah.
Then you get really aware of like the quality of your hair.
Yeah.
So that was my big worry. I started looking for products that were like, how can I keep the condition of my hair? And that's why I use the towel, is so I can blow dry it less.
Yeah.
Because that's the most like hurtful. Like
No, but that's
anything that is like hot
right.
air and stuff. And I mean, the first time I used it, I was like, holy shit, this is not happening. Because I used it, I like had it in my hair for like maybe 20 minutes or something, and then I could blow dry my hair completely dry in like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
That otherwise takes, with my thick hair, like 30 minutes, and that's just less, putting your hair in bad situations.
Right, but it's also
I don't have to like do anything. I just put it on my head and do other things.
Yes.
And then like 3 minutes of blow drying. And I'm really an impatient person. I don't like to fix myself in the morning. So for me, it's just perfect. I don't have to think about my hair.
No, but and if you add also the way that you describe it, it's then an impact on the environment, because all of a sudden you're not, using power as much as you used to do. The towel in itself is smaller, even though it has a enormous power in itself. It brings out 6 to 8 more times more moisture than a regular cotton towel. It's because of the fibers. So if you look into the towels that we usually use today, is the real regular cotton towels, as in Sweden is called frotté. The water waste that you do when you have to first breed the plant, and now we're talking about this to the Californian company. It hasn't rained there for 4 years, so they don't have any water. I mean, they can only shower on even days because they have an even house number. How stupid is that? You think that you would be able. She came here and visited Britta, and she goes like, "Oh, I took a long shower." Now she was probably in the shower for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That was her long shower, and it's almost that you feel embarrassed that we don't. I live at Kungsholmen, which is just surrounded with water. Yeah. It's like a big joke almost. Like, how's the water doing? It's nice, But so the impact on the environment, just to pursue the material in itself, is also less water is needed. Cotton itself, it costs both to grow it and then also to harvest it, and then also to work with it to get it into the material and the thin threads and so forth. So. And you can hardly not, when you have this towel here, the material in it is, I mean, you can't destroy it. You have to be really, probably have it behind a car or something to be able to even wear it out. But because this is really something that is super sustainable for the environment as well. So I believe that I can change a behavior, which is not only that you dry your hair quicker and I can make money on it, it's also that I will save you time. I will save the environment. I will save the mountains of towels that we sort of.
And brand-wise, that's a sustainable brand.
Yeah.
That's something that gives on so many levels.
Right.
And that's the kind of business you should be looking for when it comes to today's society.
Yeah.
If you think about brand authenticity, if you don't have that, it's not going to be attractive enough for the consumers. Because they're also actually looking at these things now, and they didn't 10 years ago.
No, and
especially not in beauty.
No, exactly, and I think also, especially also in your generation, my kids teach me all the time of things that I should do, how I should purchase stuff, and how the environment are looking. Best choice should it be closed,
conscious shopping
all the time. And then also in the beginning I felt that it was it doesn't matter if I do it or not, but then I saw the impact in the store of like fair trade bananas, for example. I'm like, dude, we're so powerful and we don't even know it. We don't even think of that we can change consumer behavior by just doing it in small amounts. Just do the eco choices and the fair trade choices and so forth. So all in all, I think that consumption overall should be more that you guys do it more consciously. It's my generation and the generation before me that has lived through the 60s and 70s when it was cool to throw stuff out in the nature because you felt that it says on the bottle that this is recyclable, and it was like plastic bottles with like beer. It was stupid. And after that, everybody goes like, oh no, we need to keep this country clean. So then this super campaign came about, and you were supposed to take home all the trash and so forth. But it's a little bit sloppy now on the beaches and so forth here in Sweden, I think. But we're getting better, I hope. But
it's funny when it comes to sole agencies, because as I've been an entrepreneur for so long, we talked about that before we started the podcast. That it's a thing that most new entrepreneurs don't look at, because they don't understand that you can do that.
No.
That you can go to a company, approach them, and say, "Hey, I really like your product, but I have this market, and I'd like to sell it in my market because I know this market and you don't. If I get the sole agency, because then you have actually the power to be the only one selling it."
Yeah.
And one of those products that I saw a couple of years ago, and I was in the process of trying to get the sole agency for Sweden, was Keep Cup. Keep Cup is Keep Cup is the portable portable the takeaway reusable mugs for coffee that is actually set to the barista standards. And now in all the biggest coffee shops in Sweden, everyone has Keep Cup. So the two biggest chain in Sweden, and we're the most coffee drinking country in the world. So that's why I wanted it. But partly because it's a smart solution. It saves time. You can bring your coffee anywhere. It's in the size for the actual companies, because I knew coffee that well. But also because the actual material they make the cups of is actually sustainable. And then for the brand reasons, you can brand them any way they wanted. So when I was looking at them, they were actually really, really small. They hadn't started selling to anyone. And for some reason, I stalled it and didn't do it. So every time I go to a Wings Coffee,
you go like, darn. That should be mine. I should be the one earning pennies on that one.
And that's how you do it in the fashion industry. You can be an agent for fashion brands between the stores and the fashion brand, and it's a really good business to do. But a lot of people don't know how to do that. An agent of some kind.
I think that you have to be super clear on what you want to do. And it's easy to contact a company and get the rights. But it's the hard part comes when you actually, it's like starting a company is super easy. But to run a company and to grow a company, that's super complicated. Or if you don't have a set goal or a plan of what you want to do, if you have an exit strategy from the beginning, don't be shy of your dreams, because if you don't pursue or know what your dream is, how are you going to sort of maneuver your company into sort of being as successful as your dreams are? Because that should be your drive in the project in itself. So,
and it also attracts the right people, because a lot of entrepreneurs, they don't realize that if you don't have if people don't see that you have a goal, they're not going to follow you. They're not going to follow you lost in the woods. That's not a good idea. And that is an instinct in people. So when they see a leader that doesn't know how, they're not leading anywhere. They're never going to join the company. They're not going to help you. You have to be very clear. And I think Swedes have a problem with that. That's part of the culture. Showing like, this is the goal. I want to make this much money. This is the level I want to be on. But as soon as you do that here in Sweden, you get such a reaction because people are not used to it. And you can really, really get really good people on board.
No, I agree. No, I think that if you, I think that you should pursue your dreams, but then also how do you attract people that you don't know that you should know? That's more of like, okay, so then, and that it becomes complicated. I have been extremely fortunate of being active in Sweden during such a in Sweden, you when we came here in 2000, and we actually started going back and forth in 2009. I mean, the recession in the United States was awful. It was horrible. And when you came here to Sweden, people said that it was horrible too, and it was doomsday. But people were still going out eating. They were still buying expensive coffee in a coffee store, and they still were carrying bags that they'd been somewhere buying stuff, full price stuff, which was not heard of, because you were all of a sudden especially in the South, you were co-riding with each other, and that was unheard of. No one has ever co-ridden with anyone if it wasn't in a metro city. And this was like suburbia
exactly.
heaven. So this was like crazy. So people were saving money, they were scared, and they're still super scared in the United States that this will happen again because they were so caught off guard. It was silly. And then if you pursue that strength and you come in here in Sweden and you have the attitude of a Swede but have the influence of an American, or pursuing your goal, which I believe that the current generation around 20s now have been sort of given the opportunity of think that you can do whatever you want to. You can pursue your dreams, whatever it is. It's not stereotyping. It's not, we have a gender discussion in Sweden that is very, very healthy. We have a equality rights discussion that is super healthy. We accept and we greet people that are not following whatever norm should be a norm. I don't know how you say it in a better way, but so I think that in Sweden is really, really very far ahead in that kind of program. So when you come back here and you are able to pursue all of this, and I find these people that I'm collaborating with right now, one of the things is that I have stated, because I'm working on this budget, and this is the project of how you can pursue a startup by borrowing funds from someone else than a family friend or an angel, but actually from this Almi institution fund. I've seen that if I am clear in my goals and what my dreams are and what I have in product and service or whatever it is, I have people that are interested in investing their time and energy to look on my upside, which is exactly how we invest in Stockholm Business Angels. So I'm pursuing my sort of startup company with the perspective of an investor from Stockholm Business Angels, if it makes sense.
Yeah, I get it.
To why would I pursue towels as a product? Well, I know that in the future of this towel company, I have a tech product. I'm not going to say what it is right now because it's going to be obvious in the fall what we're doing. But it is tech. And that is what you have to understand, that just because you see one thing, and this is my bread and butter thing, I have layers which we have been discussing before. What is my bread and butter product? What is my second layer? And what is my top layer? So all of these different things, I have to pursue all three of them to be able to actually create a real brand.
Yeah, and get the streams of clients in that fills in all the gaps.
Yeah, exactly. So it's, from the beginning, it was like, well, I can sell towels, of course. But in the end, I knew that it was more than towels. So
I'm so happy to hear that. I can help you with the strategy. And I love that product strategy.
Yeah.
I learned that from the beginning, from the fashion industry. And as soon as I saw that, I realized this is so applicable to any business.
Yeah.
So now whenever I do my lecture entrepreneurial thinking, I always put that in at the end.
Yeah.
Because I want people to remember that most.
Yeah.
Because you can use it for like anything.
Yes.
Like, it's just a smart like selling model. But
yeah.
just categorizing and getting that kind of setting.
And then also understanding that this is what you're doing. You need to sell X amount of that to be able to pursue this, because this is a second layer dream.
Yeah.
To be able to finance the third top layer. In the end, you will probably make more money on the third layer, because that is the one that it gives you the most revenue. But in the end, you still have to, walk the streets, talk the talk, engage people in whatever you have. If it's a service or if it's a product or whatever it is, you still need to touch each person with your passion and your commitment. I think too, and I really, really think that this is the most fun I ever had in my whole life, and I've done a lot of fun things. So this is way funner than anything else.
And I think it's interesting also about towels, as I said, like going from tech to a beauty section, but you're still doing tech in the beauty section.
Yes.
And that's what I think. I was reading a Quora thread about, okay, so what's we know we have all these startup products and all of these social media platforms, and everything is aimed to other dudes 30 something with a nice kind of set of pocket money.
Yeah.
who make products for other dudes like them in Silicon Valley. And this whole thread was about, okay, so we have that covered, but what about the rest of the world? What do you see as people in the industry is going to come except for that? Because that's such a small part of the world's population. Yes. And if we could continue just doing products for this segment, firstly, as entrepreneurs, we're missing so many opportunities where we don't have the kind of competition you have doing, for example, social media platforms to measure social media. Like there's thousands and thousands. But tech in beauty and towels, like you will be alone to do it because the other people in that industry won't have the technical experience.
No, they won't have the technical experience. They won't have the passion of being an entrepreneur and actually build a company from the super scratch.
Yes.
Which I think this is, and then also being sort of targeting exactly what we want to do, and the reasoning behind it is our reasoning behind. I'm very, very happy to then announce that I'm actually starting the European company together with the American company. So instead of me being the sole agent, and that's just that is something that has sort of grown out from my first email stating that this is what I want to do, and then just be super, super diligent on stating that everything that you say that you're going to do, you do it, and you do it a little bit more. So it's all about, understate and over deliver, which I think is that's how you gain confidence from people, and understanding that she's serious. She's actually going to pursue this. And I think that we can't take anything for granted. We're not supposed to take stuff for granted, because if we do that, then we become mellow and we're not going to pursue any of our dreams, because it should be hunting for your future. Then we have so are you a communicator? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you a innovator? Who are you? Everybody, just because you start a company, you are not an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
An entrepreneur is someone who's like driving themselves and the family crazy, working way too much, and but also want to see the result and don't give up. Don't give up on the small stuff that you're probably not going to work. This is you start to have this discussion in your head. You just take them out and then say, is this valid? Do we still have a customer base? Are people paying for what you have? Are they interested and are they pursuing their friends with the products that you have? If you have all yes on that, why would this not work? And why wouldn't you pursue whatever you want to do? It's just to content. But if you don't have any customers, if you don't have anyone who's willing to pay for it, and if you don't have any plans on how to develop it to be a something that you could pursue with clients, just fold it. Then it's not a good idea. And like you said, how many communication platforms, how many CRS system, how many kinds of ERP systems and stuff like that do we actually need? Why don't you guys work together? Why don't you pursue and come up with a really super idea? I went to TV5, a TV channel here in Sweden today. I think it's called CBS Discovery, I think, or something like that. They have 9, 11, all kinds of different channels. And I asked him though, how can I pursue something with you guys when you are not interested in, and I want to collaborate because I want to buy media in all different segments, all kind of channels and stuff, but I want to do it on one platform. Why can't I do that? And he goes like, well, because we're different companies. Well, I don't care, because I don't want to pay for 99 krona as a monthly fee for your whatever Dplay they call it. I don't want to pay for TV4. I don't want to pay for Netflix. I don't want to pay for HBO. I don't want to pay for any PlayStations on different segments. I want to pay for one overall kind of function. Why can't I have that? They have it in the United States. They have Hulu. Why don't we have that here?
I mean, as an entrepreneur, your time is money.
Yeah.
And the more time you waste,
the
less it's worth it.
I know, and I see a business opportunity.
The same, like, make me frustrated and I'm going to make it into a company.
Pursue this, and you guys, because everything is about negotiation.
Yeah.
Everything is about how low can you go and how low can the other person go, or when do you have meet common turf? That's sort of what I want to, that's the whole point with doing business. And I love what I'm doing.
And that's something you can do. You don't have to start your own product.
No.
You can't do, for example, a sole agency.
Yep.
But it can evolve from that, as you did.
Yes.
That you actually have now a collaboration. And
and I mean,
something bigger.
and I emailed them in August.
Yeah.
And in September, I had the ownership. And then in December already, we already started to discuss that. And I haven't even started. I didn't have my towels by then. But because of the actions and the stuff that I did and how I was planning on selling things and how earning money, because it's all about how can I make money on this? You can't have a venture if you don't make any money.
Yeah.
It's very few who has an opportunity like Spotify, for example, to actually play with other people's money and not making any money. It's very, very far-fetched, actually, to be able to do so. I think you should.
And do you really want to do that?
No,
be stuck in
No.
someone else's money
No.
and not moving forward with
No,
yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, I invest in companies that don't see an opportunity, but usually they have a product or they have something going on and they need to scale it up, and the personal dilution and so forth is they've already done that, so they are not scared about that, because it's also, I rather have 5% of something than 100% of nothing.
Yeah.
So it's more of like all these metaphors, like I can't see the forest because of all the trees and stuff like that. It's all about the perception, whatever you want to do and what you can do. It's up to you.
And that's what people don't understand about collaboration. They think collaboration is, I have my brand and you're going to do stuff for me.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be awesome because we're helping these people over here do something.
Yeah.
It's kind of this like, we don't need to get paid kind of attitude that I see everywhere here.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, hey, this is a collaboration. Here is our 2 platforms. Together, we can make twice the money. Do you want to share that money?
Yeah.
Instead of saying, let's exchange services. Like, you can't exchange services forever.
No.
There has to be an end goal of actually making money together.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's how we live.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's a bit specific also to Sweden, that people are a bit afraid of talking about the monetization part of collaborations.
Yes. Yeah.
So start collaborating on that part, actually making money together. Thanks so much, Anette, for coming to Startup Cabin Podcast.
Thanks for having me, Shmei. I like it.
You've been listening to Anette Nordvall speaking with Shmei Rhodin. If you want to check out Annette's product line, AQUIS, you can check that out at AQUIS.se and see what she's doing over there and buy your own towel for yourself.